Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
Welcome, everybody, to the PewterCast, a very special edition of the PewterCast, my favorite show of the entire year. It is the 2019 PewterCast Awards show. I am Brent Allen. I'm your host. I'm joined, as always, by my very good friend, my longtime co-host, Ren Daxt. Ren, how's it going, friend?
It's going well. Going pretty well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
How's it going for you?
It's going well. It's going pretty well. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. Yes, this is your favorite show of the year.
It is.
Would you like to tell the people why?
Why?
No?
I don't. Why is it my favorite? I don't know. It's fun. You know why? Because nobody else does this show.
Sure.
And nobody else does it the way that we do it. Nobody else collects votes from fans.
Mhm.
And, you know, this isn't, you know, Michael Scott in his office, you know, coming up with stupid, cheesy, you know, hair nut of the year awards. Like these are awards that fans get out there, they vote on. There's a nominating committee that gets out and nominates these, so it's not just us kind of rigging it or whatever.
But there is some rigging involved.
Well, you know, we've got to try to slant it our way at least a little bit. You know, a lot of good it's going to do us. But anyway, but no, I really like the show. It's just fun. It's fun. I think that's really the only thing. But it's a special show for you too, Ren.
Is it?
It is.
Oh, that's right. I forget this every year.
Right.
Yes, it is my, I guess, anniversary.
This would be your anniversary show as the co-host here at the PewterCast.
So as the story goes, Brent, in his first year of doing the PewterCast, had me on, I think once, maybe
once
twice.
during the season. Yeah,
once
I think
during
it was
the
once
season.
and then I brought you back. Yeah.
Someone fell through. I think it was an 8-year-old. Fell through. If you go back and listen, he had a lot of kids on early. An 8-year-old fell through, so he asked me to come on. And then at the last moment, when he was doing these Pewties, and someone else fell through at the last minute that was going to come and co-host with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought me on, and we did it. And then as soon as the show ended, you asked me if I wanted to be the co-host for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what, 2-3 years ago?
That was 3 years ago. Yeah.
3 years ago.
Well, before, I mean, we're getting on about 4 actually now.
All right.
So it might be like 3 calendar years, 4 I don't know, whatever it is. But you've done every single one of these PewterCast Awards shows, and this is our fourth one.
So there you go.
So yeah.
Starting of year 4.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's man, I don't know. I'm excited. I have thoroughly enjoyed you being on the show, Ren. For the most part.
Yeah. So I have to thank who did cancel on you. Do you remember?
But I really don't even remember. I really don't.
I have them to thank.
Yeah.
For my local celebrityism.
I knew going into this, like I'd eventually have to find a co-host and stop this rotating carousel and come in. But yeah, certainly. And the show's a lot different today than it is back then. But you know, it's only gotten better, and who knows what's going to happen over the course of this next year where we could be going. But hey, we're not here to talk about all that. We're here to give out some awards. We're here to talk and to celebrate you know, all the achievements and the accomplishments that have happened around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the 2019 season.
Right.
Granted, the season did not turn out the way we wanted it to. Like, I don't think anybody would say that. So,
you weren't hoping for a pick 6 to end the game at overtime?
No, I did. And no, absolutely not. No. And didn't we ending the games by pick 6s this year?
Well, you know, the saying is possibly Jameis Winston's Buccaneer career.
And that could also be true as well. But I have not anyway, the season has not gone exactly. Sorry. This has been a serious exercise this year of listening to you, trying to think of a response, monitoring all the technical stuff, seeing the guys in the chat room, responding to the guys in the chat room. And this year especially has been, what's the word you've been using for this year, Ren?
Clunky.
For for us, for the Buccaneers, like as a whole, it's been a weird year. So, but man, we are here to celebrate the achievements, the accomplishments. Most of the awards we're going to be talking about, for those of you who haven't done this before or been with us, because we've got a lot of new listeners between last year and this year. For those of you who haven't listened, most of these awards will go to the players.
Yes.
There is one award that will go for Coach of the Year. And then we have 3 that are more meant for us, because we are a podcast. We're a part of this podcasting community. So we'll have one that goes for our Guest of the Year. We have one that actually goes for Podcast of the Year, and one that goes for Media Personality, because certainly we work with so many of those people there in the media room. They give so much of their time to come on our show, and they're such a big part of how we, and I mean we collectively as a fan base, get our information.
Yes.
So we will have that. So we will certainly go through. But Ren, man, before we jump into it, I got to tell you, this was a little bit of a wild year as far as the voting went.
Yeah, I think I saw you tweet out like, let's spoiler alert. Well, I guess not really. Background sidebar. Sure. Brett and I have not spoken since our last PewterCast, since our last pod.
Right.
And it's been pushing like 3 weeks. So Brett and I haven't talked to each other since the voting started, but I think I did see you.
We've been on a break, Ren.
Yes, it's been nice.
We're on a break.
It's been nice. I've barely been on Twitter, and it's been great.
I've noticed.
But then you sent out a tweet like within the first 24 hours, we passed our combined total of the first 2
years. Yeah.
Of the Pewties.
Yeah. Yeah. Because our first year, I think we had something around the neighborhood of, I want to say it was I don't know. It was like 1,500 votes. It wasn't a ton.
Yeah.
It's about 1,500. Huh?
Yeah. So I was agreeing with you. No, it wasn't a ton.
Yeah, it wasn't a ton. The second year and I'm trying to remember these numbers off the top of my head. I feel like I should have I think the second year we had something like 3,500, 3,600, somewhere around there. So this year, within the first 24 hours, we got, it was just over 5,000 votes.
Yikes.
Had come in. Like, that is just amazing. Now, last year, that number like more than quadrupled actually, and got up over 13,000 votes for last year's PewterCast Awards.
Right.
Now, Ren, you don't know this.
I do not.
Would you like to know how many votes we received for this year, the 4th annual PewterCast Awards for the 2019 season?
I have no idea how I have not been berating you in DMs.
I'm surprised
Twitter,
you haven't been,
messages. Like, I have no idea how I did not jump in my car and drive to Jacksonville and knock on your door
like,
to find out how many votes did we get this year in total.
In total, 22,044 votes came in.
No way.
Over the course, and it's voting this year, by the way, was shortened by 1 week.
Was it?
Yeah, it was shortened by 1 week. Voting that was so. I don't know what it would have been had it remained open yet another week. Probably at least another couple of thousand, just because it tends to tail off there towards the end. But 22,044 votes have come in from my count, and this is not a super accurate count, but as far as I can tell, from about 12 different countries.
Really?
From around the world. Yeah. So from Bucs fans all around the world. So
that's more people than are going to vote in the impeachment hearings.
That is true. That is true by a lot, actually. So it is something. And I want to say just real quick, hello to everyone who is joining us live at youtube.com at our page over there at YouTube. You guys are awesome. Hello to everybody who's going to be listening to this later on the podcast feed as well. And to those of you who may be listening, who are curious, who were maybe perhaps a nominee this year, and you're wondering if you won or not, hello to you. And we'll reveal things all in good time. So 22,044 votes, Ren. I'm pretty excited about that. It just talks about the continued growth here of the show. Yeah,
continued growth of the show. People are listening, but people want, like, it's like why you're excited about it. Like, fans get to express their vote. Like sort of like the unsung player of the year. Well, if you're one of those people that fell in the Dominican Sue camp that, hey, I'm glad he's here, and I think it was an upgrade. Here's your chance to pipe off.
Right.
If you're one of those people that wanted to put Jameis Winston as offensive player of the year, even though you had Godwin and Evans with and Jameis's 30 interceptions, hey, this was your chance. Hey, which coach did better? I mean, I was shocked BA wasn't even in there.
Yeah.
But you had Bowles, and then you had offensive line coaches, and you had defensive back coaches, and you had linebacker coaches. So this is a chance.
I had some coaches when they come in for the nominating committee. I had to go look up and find out what position they coached because I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So it was. It's nice to know that people at least care enough to take a second out of their day. And I really mean this because it's hard for me. Like when people ask me to do stuff on Twitter, I'm like, just tweet, just stick to tweeting. Right. Don't ask me to join your cause.
Right.
I don't care about the wild horses in Afghanistan. I got other stuff I'm doing right now. So thank you to everyone who went out there and did that. And it just seems like it's been growing by leaps and bounds. But hey, you get your voice, you got your choice. And
there you go.
The first category is.
Well, not yet. Before we get there, because I do have one more thank you I want to give, and just a shout out, sort of, I guess, for the final time this year, to those who were part of our nominating committee. Now, the nominating committee is made up of 8 different people. Had several tweets this year, people going, "Well, why didn't this person get nominated, or why didn't that person get nominated?" Right. Just for people out there to know, in case you're not familiar with the process, what it is we put together a nominating committee that is made up of 2 members of the local Buccaneers media.
Mm-hmm.
It's made up of 2 members of Buccaneers fringe media. So that'd be, people like us, or, Mr. Bucks Nation, or, I don't know, Gene from Buck What You Heard, or Corey Draper when he was doing it up at Play Reaction, or Real Bucks Talk guys, or, whatever, the fringe media. So it's 2 credentialed, 2 non-credentialed. And then we do 2 fans, that we kind of sort of trust their ear. At least we know they're at least involved,
Yeah.
So we get that aspect, and then you and I get a vote, or
Yep.
you and I get a nomination because it's our show. So that is the nominating committee, and that committee, with the exception of you and me, Ren, changes every year. Mm-hmm. And that's how the nominees are cultivated. And this year, what we did was, with the exception of our Guest of the Year award, we took the top 5 nominees, and that's how it got in there. So if somebody wasn't nominated, that's because this particular year's nominating committee didn't choose that person. Wasn't one of the top 5, I guess, vote getter nomination. It wasn't votes yet.
Nominees.
Nomination getters. Yeah. So that's how the nominees were chosen. And let's talk about real quick, Ren, what the winners will be receiving.
Okay.
Which is very fun. This is not just a hey, fun accolades, and we listen to the show and then it goes away. The people are actually going to receive some stuff, which is kind of cool. Well, 2 things really. The first one is going to be a letter that just details out the fact that this is a fan voted award, and so many different fans voted. This isn't just, like I said, you and I just sitting here just deciding to do something. So something that just sort of commemorates it, lets them know what it, how it was chosen, who chose it, and the fact that it comes from us fans. But the other thing they get, and it's a small token.
Is the letter notarized?
No, but it comes on our letterhead.
Does it get
one? It comes on the PewterCast letterhead.
Does it get one of those cool star gold stickers in the corner?
Oh, that's embossed up a little bit. Yeah. No, it doesn't do that. I should maybe look at doing that. Maybe when we get a sponsor for the show, we can up our budget a little bit.
Will I be signing these letters?
If you'd like to. But as you guys might see,
presidential pen
right here, there you go, with a different pen for each letter, so you can give those out. But you might see right here over my shoulder, this little guy right here, that's called a Pewtie. I've got one right here next to me as well. It's a Pewtie. They actually get this. Now, this actually have their name inscribed and what they won the award for, but this is it. Just a little trophy, just a little something they can put up on their mantle or in their bathroom or wherever they want to do with it. I don't know. To do something. So,
and if you're listening to this pod, it looks like a mini Lombardi.
Yeah.
It looks like the Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, and that's originally what we tried calling it, was a mini Lombardi, but the word Pewtie.
Thanks to Pinnacle.
Yeah, the word Pewtie has come back. Every time we say that, he wants a quarter. I got to tell you, he really he's trying to copyright it or something.
Yeah, send me a bill.
All right. So, Ren, what was it you were just saying a second ago?
Oh, I think I was talking about the size of the mini, what they look like is the mini
Oh, yeah.
Lombardis, and I was going to talk about they have some weight to them too.
They do, yeah. You always hear that, man. This is heavier than it looks. Yeah, it really
so
is.
it's a really, and everyone, like, you see them in the video. Maybe you've seen pictures, or players have tweeted them out that have won. You kind of look at them, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. But then when you actually like hold one, and kind of like the old Jurassic Park line, it's like, what are these? Are they heavy? Yeah, they're expensive. Put it down.
Right.
So it's you not only get the piece of paper, but you actually get a trophy. If you want to display it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But I think it means a lot more. And when people start to see them, that's sort of like when the competition, we've noticed year after year, starts to ramp up.
Right.
People want these so they can rub them in other people's faces.
There you go. And we've seen people like, I mean, not literally, I guess, rub them, but we've seen people like gloat over their Pewties that they've won, which has been very, very fun. So, so that's it. So, Ren, let's give out some Pewties. What do you say, buddy?
Let's do it.
All right. First category. We'll just go straight down the line as it was on the published form. Although this year the questions would change, so you had to be careful, not just going in randomly click stuff. First category, we're going to start with the ones that are kind of more local to us. We're going to go with our PewterCast Guest of the Year. This particular category, this is the only one that had more than 5 nominees, but this was open to the people who came into our Final Thoughts shows. These were typically media people around the Buccaneers, people that have insight into the Buccaneers. They're in the media, they're in the building, can give us some insight into what's going on over there. Not all, but most. So this year, the nominees were JP Peterson of FanStream Sports, Mark Cook at PewterReport.com, Greg Allman of TheAthletic.com, TJ Reeves of the Bucs Radio Network, Derek Fournier, formerly of What the Buck, Scott Smith at Buccaneers.com, Eddie Encina of TampaBay.com, Scott Reynolds at PewterReport.com, and Zach Blobner, WDAE.
Speaking of which, I think I voted 10 times, around there, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I voted for Edward Encina every single time.
There you go.
So he could get it and rub it in Stroud's face.
That'd be kind of fun. That would be kind of fun.
They sit right next to each other. They work for the same paper.
There you
go. It's his first full year on the beat. I want Eddie to have that moment.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Hey, I should talk about this real quick. As far as this goes, I try to make it a really strict rule. Like, I don't talk about where people placed, like how the order goes.
Right.
So I see people maybe possibly lining it up there in the chat room, like, hey, who was second? Who was third? But unfortunately, I will tell you, Eddie did not win this year's award. Actually winning this year's award.
Travesty. Travesty. It's a travesty.
It's travesty. Which I mean, this is weird because I'm very excited about this, because I would actually probably be very excited about anybody who won the award. Yeah. But winning the award for the very first time this year. From Buccaneers.com, Scott Smith.
No way.
The Pewtie for Guest of the Year here at the PewterCast.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott's always fun to listen to, but you can hear him on a couple of different pods.
Sure.
And it's cool that he got, I'm glad he got it, because he's he's sort of on the fence about like Bucks Personality of the Year, or like one year he wasn't available to do it, or wasn't up for it, or he couldn't be a media person. That was it.
Yeah,
because he actually worked for the Bucks.
Right, and it was so last year we actually changed that rule to allow Scott and Carmen and actually Casey Phillips as well, to be potential nominees, at least for that category, because he wasn't available that first year or two, possibly. Actually, I'm not really sure. But so this year he gets it. So congratulations, Scott. I'm sure he is having a blast at the Pro Bowl or whatever they're doing over there in Orlando right now. So
he's sitting in his hotel room and he's watching.
He's watching us. So hi, Scott. He is joining us live here. All right.
We're driving back for Orlando. That's cool. Our fellow Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Star Wars, Star Trek enthusiast, Scott Smith wins. That's great.
Yeah. So there we go. So congratulations, Scott. All right, Ren, let's move on to Bucks Media Personality of the Year. The nominees for this particular category were Trevor Sikkema, PewterReport.com.
Two-time winner.
Do what?
2-time winner.
He is. He is the reigning champion on a repeat 2-time. Carmen Vitale at Buccaneers.com.
Newcomer.
Rick Stroud of Tampa Bay Times.
Solid choice.
Tom Bassinger of Tampa Bay Times. And Ira Kaufman at JoeBucksFan.com.
I voted for Tom Bassinger every single time.
I bet you did.
Just so I was hoping he won. Just
Yeah.
so you would have to give him a Pewtie.
Yeah. You know what? I really would have been okay. And to be honest with you, Tom reached out to me after he found out that he was nominated. And
Oh, really?
we could just say fences have been mended. We'll leave it at that.
I'm
And,
still blocked.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you?
And I always thought I was blocked because of you. Oh, well.
Maybe he just didn't go that extra step on the unblocking. So, but anyway, unfortunately, though, Tom will not be receiving this year's Pewtie.
Well, looks like you're blocked again.
Wait, that wasn't me. This is the voters. And Ren, we have our very first. Is it our very first? I think it is.
It'd have to be.
Our very first three-peat right here on the PewterCast Awards. Trevor Sikkema taking home Bucks Media Personality of the Year, representing PewterReport.com, DraftNetwork.com for the third time in a row. Trevor Sikkema.
Congratulations, Trevor. Well earned. Great follow on Twitter.
Yes.
Personally, I'm sliding him into the Patriots category now, and I don't want to see him win next year.
Right. He's kind of making that Tom Brady thing going on. But I got to tell you, Trevor's big piece that he puts out is that cover 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his cover 3s this year were, I thought, particularly good. Like it felt like he stepped them up to me quite a bit over the course of this past year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the amount of work he did, or I don't know what it was. But
Well, his last one, his sort of sayonara swan song. Before, who knows if he's coming back to Peterborough. This is what happened last year.
Yeah,
the draft came around. He quit working at Pewter Report and went full time into the Draft Network. And then after that slowed down, and then training camp started to roll around. All of a sudden, he popped back up with Pewter Report. I hope that it happens again. This coming up year, but we shall see. But yeah, so his farewell was that breaking down all those Jameis's interceptions. Whose fault were they? And I thought he did a really good job as far as balancing them, and and even saying it sometimes like I don't know. Like, I don't know who this, it could have been on either one of them. And even when he finished up, he's like, okay, I came up with 16.5, I think he said. He said, but it could be 19 and it also could be like 14.
Right.
So, but the point being was sort of that there were numerous, interceptions there. But he, you're right. It was a clunky year and it was a hard year for Buck fans to get through because we had so much hope at the beginning, and then the defense was what they were, and then they turned around, and then Jameis turned around and threw for 450 yards or 400 yards, and we're gonna this is it, we're rolling. And then he
hurt his thumb.
He hurt
as a part of it.
That's what happened.
That's what right. He hurt his thumb, lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
That's true.
Lost a lineman or two in somewhere. I don't remember exactly what it was at this point. I've moved on, to be quite honest with you.
But it was a very painful roller coaster ride, and Trevor was there sort of talking us off the ledge either way, every 2 hour too low, every Tuesday with this cover 3.
Right. So, Trevor, congratulations. You will be receiving your third Pewtie in a row for Bucks Media Personality of the Year. And Ren is putting you in his Tom Brady category.
Yeah, Patriots category, not Tom Brady.
Right.
Patriots
okay.
category.
The Patriots category. I got you.
I wanted Carmen to win, even though I voted for T-Bass all those times. And I was sad that Lee Kemper didn't make it. I wanted to put him in there because it's personality. It's not your favorite,
right?
It's not.
He certainly was a personality for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I, for one, as a fan, even though I vehemently disagree with a lot of things that he says, I'm glad he's here. It's a fun listen, and it's and his articles are a fun read. It's just it's just one of those things where you don't surround yourself with people that you agree with because you're not going to learn anything.
Right. Exactly. In which case, what you're saying is surround yourself with people you don't always agree with.
Yes.
Because you do. All right, Ren. Hey, let's get to the big one of the night. Let's go ahead and do it. Like, this is the big one that everybody keeps. They've already been asking for it in the chat room over here.
MVP.
Bucks Podcast of the Year.
Oh, here we go.
All right, Bucks Podcast of the Year. The nominees were the PewterCast. Hey, that's us.
Yay.
Which, by the way, we've never won our own award. We've never won. Locked On Bucks, who are the reigning champions. We've got the Pewter Nation podcast from our friends over at pewterreport.com. Real Bucks Talk, our friends Mike and Mark over there. And then Loose Cannons with Sammer representing the Rookie Podcast of the Year.
The Devin White podcast.
Right. So with that, Ren, this was an interesting category to follow. Of all the ones, like, outside of my own personal bias, and like I'm not gonna go into all the details and nitty gritty of it, but this was the one that just from a pure race standpoint, I wish I could let everybody else have seen what I saw over the course, because this one was a hard fought contest. It really was.
And there were some newcomers, and it was a little surprising that, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not banging on them, but, I was a little surprised that sort of like, the Pewter Report guys got in there, right?
Right.
But, Pewter Nation podcast, but Iris didn't get in there.
Right.
And, but
to be fair, in previous years,
oh yeah,
they would have, because in previous years we listed all the Bucks podcasts, but there's so many.
Yeah.
And so this is part of where the constricting it to 5, where that new rule for this year came in. And yeah.
And I was really surprised by it. I'm like, come on, like, I find it entertaining. I know that some people don't. I know you have quit listening to it.
Out of just sheer numbers, and I haven't quit altogether. I like catch up with it.
Yeah.
Probably once a month or so, just to check in with them. Or if there's a particularly interesting title that they put up, then I'm like, hey, I'm going to go check that at least that part out. That's all it is.
Yeah. I listen to it the day it comes out, and have ever since it has. So I've listened to it the day it's come out, every day for 2-3 years it's been out. Yeah. But, something happened with Isbits this year. I don't know if it was a shift in the way they were doing it, or he took a step back, or there was issues. I don't know if there was issues. I hope everything's fine with Steve Isbits and his family. But like, it was just left up to Lee and Ira. And even though the content is fun to listen to, most of them are two guys sitting in a car with the phone in the center console.
Right.
And we deserve better than that. So at first I was shocked because of the name recognition and, how many people listen to it. But if the overall category is quote unquote podcast of the year, like it sounded like two guys talking in a stairwell, and they wouldn't do the pod if they didn't have sponsors. They wouldn't do it because they don't put any effort into it as far as the technical side. And that's that's what I love about Sammers. Like, Sammers sounds awesome.
He sounds great.
Sounds
by the way.
Awesome.
And Sammer, if you're listening to this, I mean, Ren is the first one to tell you I am a stickler for the production quality of this show, and we don't always nail it, but I really do try to put a lot of effort into making sure that things sound great, and upgrading gear and spending time editing and putting things together. And when Sammers came out, the attention to quality that he had, outside of he just had good content, and and it's a different flavor than what else was out there, and all those kinds of things. But just from that standpoint of the quality, I very much definitely appreciated Sammers over at Loose Cannons podcast. So and I will say, Ira's was actually it was probably the question I received the most from people saying, hey, where's Ira's podcast on this list?
Right.
Well,
and
that's 5.
And this is sort of like, in my opinion, the biggest quote unquote snub. And I had to think about it for a few days. I'm like, well, that's just, do people just not, are they mad at Lee? Like is that what's going on? Because no one gets mad at Ira, It's Ira. He's a guy.
Ira. It's Ira. Hey, Ira. Yeah.
Hey, it's Ira. It's Ira from around the block. Hey, what's up, Ira? So no one gets mad at that guy. So and that's sort of, I came up to of how I think maybe like they didn't make it into the top. It's like, doesn't matter about their content and their name recognition. It's like, you got to do better than placing the phone in the middle, center console.
It was a hard listen.
It was a terrible listen.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
With that. Well, hey, Ren, we've spent a lot of time talking about somebody who's not on the list.
Yeah,
we talk about people who've actually won this particular award. And Ren, we're going to do something fun this year.
Okay.
We're going to call the winner.
No,
because it's not us again.
What? Oh, I was just
unfortunately.
I was just looking
Actually,
for
I don't
my
know.
phone.
If your phone rings, it might be us.
Okay.
But why don't we let me see if I can get them in here, and we'll see what we can do. Can you hear that, Ren?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
So it is me.
Hello?
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 Is this James Yarko of the Locked On Bucks podcast?
Yes, sir, it is.
James, this is Brent and Ren with the PewterCast. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Well, we're a little sad right now.
We have terrible news, James.
Terrible news for you, man.
News.
Oh, geez.
And, here's the thing. We've been doing this show for about 4 years now, and never once have we won our own award. But you, my friend, have won it twice now. Congratulations, James, and your partner, David. You guys, Locked On Bucks, have won Bucks Podcast of the Year twice in a row. Just for you, pal.
Thank you so much, guys. It's really appreciated. Appreciate everyone that voted. You know, David and I especially know how much work that the two of you put in to your show, and to host an award show like this it's really appreciated by everybody, whether you're nominated or not. The work that you guys put in is great. And David and I had even said a couple times on the podcast, we felt it was your year. Mm-hmm. Like, we felt this was when the PewterCast was going to win. But, you know, it's humbling, and it's certainly appreciated that you guys are, including us in this big night.
Well, it wasn't up to us, James.
Well, yeah. And of course, we appreciate everyone that voted, because it means a lot. It shows that the work that we put in, especially doing a daily show, it's appreciated by the Buccaneers fans out there and the listeners. And, David and I we've been at it, not quite as long as you guys, but we've been at it for quite a while. And so, yeah, it truly means a lot to both of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly, we were just talking about Sammer's show and how he's just sort of burst on the scene, but you guys have been a real, we've kind of gone about the same amount of time, James. I think we're just maybe one season longer than what you guys have been doing, if you count your previous podcast. But, listening to you and David and the way you guys have grown as podcasters. Yeah. You guys are now, you've got that Google Home, inclusion, and we don't have to talk about what that is, but I know that's a big deal for you guys. And you guys have just been rocking. You're getting it from the chat room. Congratulations. Congratulations, Big Chew, Blue Chew.
Blue Chew.
Congratulations, yeah. Blue Chew. You can send some of that advertising money on over to our place. But James, I don't know if you're watching the show live or not, but you talking about people who voted. Would you like to know how many votes were received in this particular year's show? And I'm not going to tell you the breakdown, but just to know how many, at least you won out of, the 5 nominees. Would you like to know?
You're talking about the total number of votes that were received?
Yeah.
I'm going to take a guess.
Okay.
22,044.
You are really good. Like, great guesser, my friend, because that's exactly right. Maybe you are watching live. 22,000.
I absolutely am.
Yeah, 22,044 votes have been received, and as a part of that, it pushed you guys over the top. And I got to tell you, okay, all right, I'm going to break my own rule where I don't talk about the things. The way this one went was between you and us. It was ouch. No. it was neck and neck, like, the whole time, right? And it was just, I mean, it was like, you get one, we get one, you get one, we get what, or you get 10, we get 10. It was so like wired. And then earlier this week, like, we started pulling away and you guys weren't. And I was like, if this continues. And then I don't know what you guys did here over the last couple of days. I don't know who you paid off, or, if you just stayed and clicked votes and votes and votes and votes and votes, or whatever you did.
Brent.
No, I'm not. Listen,
be gracious.
I'm gracious. I don't know what you guys did, though.
That's my job.
You guys came in and kicked everybody's butts, James, is what I'm saying. So,
well,
Congratulations. Seriously, congratulations. You guys, well-deserved win, but good job. Good job.
Yeah. Again, thank you. And I remember last year when you came on and you announced this award, you said that we led by a large margin right out of the gate and never relinquished. So that tells me that 2021, the Pewties, it's the year of the PewterCast.
They're coming home.
It's going to come home. 2021 is when you guys finally are able to come away with your own award, because it is well deserved for you guys as well. And again, it's very humbling, and I know David appreciates it as much as I do, and it truly means a lot. We thank you guys so much, and we thank all the voters and all the listeners.
There you go. All right, James. Well, thanks so much, man. I'm going to get you off the phone here. We're going to move on to the next award. All right.
Wait, no, Ren.
Ren has something. Ren, go ahead.
Ren wants to talk. No, Brent sort of talked about at the beginning about where you guys have come from when you guys started to your podcast, about how it's gotten better every year, and your guys' chemistry has gotten better every year. But as far as a podcast, an officially unmedia credential, at least day to day podcast, doing a show 5 times a week is a huge commitment and a huge grind. And you guys, you figure out a way to make it work, even when someone gets sick, or even when, someone has to travel. You guys are there for Bucs fans 5 days a week, putting out the content, and it's an entertaining show. So it's just as long as just content and commitment. And if you grade that, like, you guys would win every award there is every year. And I'm glad that, that there's enough people out there that listen to an everyday podcast, because like, you look at the Twitter, like Dallas Cowboys got like 4.3 million Twitter followers. The Bucs have like 786,000 Twitter followers. And then you get a show where you got a Locked On. It's this huge, sort of conglomerate of all these Locked On podcasts. And you guys are there, and you're doing it, and you're grinding, and you're figuring it out every day. And I'm glad that the voters, pick that out, and you guys get your just due, because as far as work, you guys should win it every year.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it is a grind. And like you said, when stuff comes up, David travels a lot for work, and, I'm busy with my son's hockey schedule, and a lot of times it really is hard to link up. So to be able to carve this time out and get something out there for the listeners and for Buccaneers fans, that's what we do. That's what we enjoy doing. So that's why something like this that's voted on by those people that appreciate it, it just means so much more to be able to know that they're out there and they enjoy what we do.
All right, David. No, I was just seeing David in the chat room. All right, James, man. Hey, listen, no, really, I want to echo Ren, because listen, we go 4 times a week during the season. You guys do this all year long. We go 4 times during the season, and man, that's a grind in and of itself. You guys are going every day, like, holy cow. So my hat's off to you, man. Congratulations, certainly, to you and David. We'll make sure we get these Pewties out to you just as soon as we can. And we're coming for you next year, man. We're coming for you next year.
All right. Looking forward to another tight race, brother.
All right. Talk to you later, James. All right. That's fun, man. I wish I had like phone numbers for everybody who won, and could like call them and tell them, because it'd be such a better way to do the show.
Wasn't it sort of, and I don't know, still maybe, but didn't you talk to me at one time about having this like at a location?
Yeah.
And like all the nominees would show up, and
some
kind of
it'd
like
be cool if they all did, at least the winners. I'd tell them ahead of time if they knew they would come and actually do like an acceptance thing.
We could just do it like on Skype on the big video board.
Dude, that'd be great. I would do it. That'd be a great thing to do. And
Scott Smith is at the Pro Bowl right now. But
look, if we start getting hundreds of thousands of votes, we might be able to convince Luis to help us make that happen.
Sure,
hundreds of.
We only got 177,000 more votes to go.
Listen, the way we've been growing, we'll reach that in about 10 more years. That's so right. Anyway,
we're like the doomsday
on.
Clock.
Do what?
We're at the doomsday clock.
Yeah, right. What were we like? We're
100 seconds. 100 seconds.
100 seconds. Yeah. All right. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this Coach of the Year award, Ren. Let's move on to that. Our nominees for Coach of the Year: Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator; Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator; Casey Rogers, defensive line. Larry Foote, linebackers coach, and Kevin Ross for the defensive backs. You're right, Ren. BA did not make this particular list.
Yeah, it was a little shocking. I voted for
Yeah.
him. My guy's Kevin Ross.
Yeah.
From the way the secondary started to when it finished, of the 8 to 12 times I voted, I put Kevin Ross in there every single time because I think his contributions can't be overlooked. I'll be honest, I have no idea why the linebackers coach is in there whatsoever. He didn't really have any rookies. Well, he had Devin White, but
Does he count?
But he does. But I mean, he's a
Right.
he's a top 5 pick. He's athletic. He kind of had all. I'm sure he learned some stuff, but it's sort of more like reining him in and teaching him what he's seeing instead of more of teaching him the game.
Now, when you're thinking of linebackers, are you just thinking about those inside linebackers, or are you
It doesn't
also
matter.
including those outside?
It doesn't matter either way. You got Levante David, you got JPP, you got Carl Nassib, you got Shaq Barrett. I mean, who's the other guy? Nelson. He was gone by week 5.
Right.
So nothing against the guy. I don't, but as far as like coach of the year, it's like you can do the defensive line because the run stop was so great.
Sure.
Secondary, but I would like to say wide receivers, but it's the same thing as the linebackers.
Right.
It's like you got Evans and Godwin. Like, what are you going to teach Mike Evans? Like, what are you going to teach Mike Evans?
Right. I get that. I get what you're saying. I'm more equally shocked though that BA didn't make this in the nominating committee. And if there's proof of like, I really try, I try to have some integrity. Like I don't just insert my will over top of the
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Because I've worried about that a few times.
I always consider it. I'm like, no. Hey, let's talk about the winner.
Okay.
Big winner here. Defensive coordinator, Coach Todd Bowles. Coming back for next year.
I think I'm 0 for 3.
Are you?
I think so. 0 for 4.
Congratulations, Todd. That's a combination of Coach Bowles, Coach Todd, and Todd Bowles all together. Same.
Coach Tosh.0.
Right.
But no, it's you kind of hit the nail on the head about that sort of thing coming back for his next year. Those coaching spots got filled up real quick, and before us fans really had a chance to sweat out if Leftwich or Bowles or one of these defensive offensive assistants went somewhere else. So of all this back and forth about Jameis on Twitter, God, blah. At least this is something that we as fans at least have this already in our cart, like this is already a win for us for having, at least the coaching staff is going to be there next year is all going to be there by choice or by BA's choice. If anyone moves or moves on, it's going to be because BA replaces them with he thinks who's someone better. No one got poached.
There you go. So coming back now, well, we'll save that. We'll save my next thought for a future episode. I don't want to ruin the celebratory nature of this particular episode. There is one small thing that concerns me about this. We'll talk about that later. But congratulations, Coach Bowles, on winning Coach of the Year, and we'll get that out to you as soon as we can.
Well
all right,
deserved.
The rest of our awards for the rest of the night, Ren, all go to players.
All right.
All go to actual players wearing numbers and jerseys there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And our first category is what we've called, I think this is a new name this year, the Step Up Player of the Year.
Yep.
And this is the idea behind this award is this is the player who really took a step forward this year in their play. Maybe you didn't think of them as a starter at the beginning of the year and they turned into a starter, or, whatever, maybe a comparison from last year to this year, and they really took that step forward this year. The nominees were Sean Murphy Bunting, Kevin Mentor, Brashard Perryman, Ronald Jones, and Alex Kappa. And this was a category, I got to tell you, the more I thought about it and the more I went on, like I actually like every single one of these guys for this award. Like when you think about how they stepped up, like I really, from what they did from year 1 to year 2, or from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, I like these guys for this award.
They all have, and what's cool about it, they've all done it different ways.
Right.
Yeah,
good point.
Rojo stepped up from year 1, year 2. I guess you could sort of say the same thing for Kappa, but Rojo wasn't the start at the beginning of the year. He sort of
Right.
earned that job. Kappa was a
Yeah.
starter, big step up. Minter filled in, and it seemed seamlessly
Mhm.
when White went down at linebacker. Who else was on there?
Sean Murphy Bunting.
Sean Murphy Bunting, who
Mhm.
looked like he didn't belong anywhere near a football field his first couple of reps in the pros,
Right.
turned into possibly the best corner we have by the end of the year because people were
Right.
just scared to throw at him all of a
Mhm.
sudden.
Mhm.
And then who's left?
Perriman.
Yeah, Perryman,
Yeah,
who
from the
who I wanted to cut, and so did everybody else.
you had a cup that you wrote that said
Yeah.
"Cut Perryman" on
Every
the
time I
bottom.
take a sip of my coffee, it would say "Cut
Right.
Perryman, cut
Right.
Perryman."
Right.
Like I
Right.
wanted the draft pick, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Evans and Godwin go down. He has to step up, and Jameis Winston turns him into a receiver the Buccaneers can't afford anymore.
He looked great, yeah, and Buccaneer fans are clamoring for his return for next year in so many ways. So we'll see what happens. However, only one can win the award, Ren. They all may be deserving, but only one can win the award. And taking home the Pewty fourth Step Up Player of the Year, the rookie, Sean Murphy Bunting.
I haven't won one yet.
Chosen by the fans, Sean Murphy Bunting. This was another close race. I'm not going to go into it like I did with the last one, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, and it's. I mean, even the people in the chat room, they're pumping Perriman right now, and some of the others. But Sean Murphy Bunting, as you said, he went from looked like he didn't belong in the league to really could be the best corner on our team coming out. So
yeah, and did it in a short period because he really didn't get on the field.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get on the field for the first couple of weeks. And they put him out there like, oh yeah, can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they pulled him back off, and then when they got him back out there, sort of about when they had to, when they're like, okay, Vernon, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go.
Which this I mean, and this just goes to speak to what you were saying earlier of Kevin Ross as defensive backs coach.
Yeah,
as a nominee for Coach of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at Sean Murphy Bunting is a great example.
Yeah, I put Kevin Minter because I thought he was the biggest surprise. I thought he was playing at he was never going to make the Pro Bowl, but for what I expected him to play like, and then when he got in there, it was like he was playing Pro Bowl level.
There you go.
He wasn't going to make it. Linebackers, dime a dozen. They're all great. They're all fast. They all tackle. If you can cover, you go to the Pro Bowl. That's how it goes.
There you go. I personally voted for Alex Kappa, but that might just be the fat boy lineman in me.
Yeah.
wanting to throw one out there. But no, I mean, Alex Kappa, when you think about a guy who last year, for whatever reason, he couldn't even make the field, right?
Right.
To turn into a starter this year. It was just such a huge jump. And not just make a starter, but to be the guy that nobody ever talked about, which is what you want as a lineman.
Yeah.
I didn't notice him because nothing happened.
He wasn't messing up.
Right.
On a regular enough basis. Yeah. I'm still in the camp that, an upgrade can be had there. He has to make that jump again before I'm comfortable.
I can understand that.
I can
understand. And we'll get to that as we go through our offseason with all of those. And that's a great conversation, I think, to have of which players still need to make that next step up.
Right.
But for this year and this award, congratulations to Sean Murphy Bunting.
SMB.
Congratulations. There you go. Everybody go buy his jersey now. All right. Next category, Unsung Hero of the Year. This is an award that I think Adam Humphries won last year, actually. But it's exactly what it says, right? This is the award for somebody who made a significant contribution to the team, maybe didn't get all the accolades and the fanfare, that perhaps maybe one deserved for this year. So nominees for this award this year goes to Ryan Jensen, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Carl Nassib, and Alex Kappa.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner is. Would you care to guess, Ren?
What are they again?
Ryan Jensen, Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Carl Nassib, Alex Kappa.
I think it's between Nassib, Vea, and who was the first person again?
Jensen.
I think it's between those three. I'm gonna.
You would be correct. It is one of those three. I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, then my guy's out. I think Vea probably drops out because I don't personally, and this is, I could be 100% wrong. Personally, I don't think he belongs in this category.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got
You
plenty
think
of
he
that.
got plenty of fanfare?
Yeah, for what he's asked to do
Right.
in this defense. And I think everyone just loves Nassib. So I'm going to go with, he's their guy. He's that guy that you don't talk about, doesn't get a lot of the fanfare, but when people ask you about, the defensive line of the Buccaneers, you're going to make sure you bring up Carl Nassib and how important he is to that defense.
Right. Well, that being said, Ren, the guy who wins unsung hero of the day is a fat guy who scored twice, maybe at least once. Vita Vea took home the fan vote for unsung hero of the year.
Definitely disappointed.
However,
I still haven't got one right.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're like, I think we're about 5 deep now. You're over 5, right?
I voted for Sue every single time.
60. You voted for Sue every single time. I think I voted for Jensen quite a bit. I think this one I scattered. I voted a handful of times, but yeah. So anyway, so congratulations, Vita Vea. Maui getting the nod here for unsung hero of the year, voted on by the fans. 22,044 votes coming in for this year's award show. All right, moving on to the next category, free agent of the year.
I think I'll get this one right.
I lost my spot. Do what?
I think I'll get this one right.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say you're going to get the rest of the awards right for the rest of the show.
I don't know.
Think you're going to miss one unless you do it on purpose.
That's the thing. Am I going to go with the guy who I think should win, or the guy who I know
you
should have
win?
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Free agent of the year.
Hey, I'm going to have like a Buccaneers record.
There you go.
I'm going to be like 4-7.
It's this is exactly what it sounds like, guys. These are people who came in as a free agent this year, people who were not on the team last year. And the nominees for this year's award went to Shaq Barrett, surprise, 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 Ndamukong Suh, Rashard Perriman, Bradley Pinion, and Andrew Adams snuck in there.
Yeah, we needed a fifth.
Ren, would you care to tell us who won this particular award?
Obviously, the last two have no shot. Adams and Pinion. Of course, it's going. I think.
I will say they received plenty of votes. They
really
not plenty to win, but they received a fair share of votes. They really did.
Did we get hacked by the Russians again this year?
Nope.
Was there a Punters or People 2 convention in town?
There might have been. and people that are fans of presidential, presidential,
the second president of the United States fan club,
right?
Andrew Adams.
There you go.
Shaq Barrett. Let's just cut the suspense.
Was it really any suspense? Because you're right. It is Shaq Barrett taking home the Free Agent of the Year award for the 2019 PewterCast Awards.
And well deserved.
Well deserved.
One of many, I believe. I'm thinking Barrett might get a triplet.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find
out. It is possible. All right, moving on. Rookie of the Year. Again, it's pretty much as simple as it sounds. It is the Rookie of the Year. This could go, by the way, to anyone who was drafted or came in as an undrafted free agent. Although I believe all these guys were drafted. So the nominees were Devin White, Matt Gay, Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Mike Edwards.
Yes.
And the winner is?
I think Matt Gay should, if he wouldn't have finished the year as slaggy, as clunky as he did, I think this would have been a closer race. I would have voted for him for a couple times.
Sure.
But if it's obvious, it's a guy who won Defensive Rookie of the Month the last 2 months of the season, or weeks, 2 weeks of the season. It's Devin White.
Right.
It was a blowout. Right?
I can neither confirm nor deny the fact that it was a blowout, but I will confirm Devin White did win this award. And I mean, Ren, you point out a very good point, or you make a very good point. He won Defensive Rookie of the Month or Defensive Player of the Month 2 months in a row to finish.
Was it month? Was it month or week?
I want to say it was the month. It was Defensive Player of the Month.
Yeah, you're right.
For the last 2 months of the season.
Right.
And that's aside from being the number one pick and coming in and having all those accolades. Like, I mean, Devin White did some stuff. this year.
He did.
And
He
very
showed you
excited
why.
for his. Do what?
He showed you why.
Yeah. Very excited for his career, going forward here with the Buccaneers and hopefully getting to keep him around for a very long time. So congratulations, Devin.
He's a lot like Jameis without all the other stuff.
There you go. Devin, you'll be getting one of these coming your way, buddy. Look in your locker or somewhere, wherever they're going to get it for you. We'll make sure that they get to you. All right. Down to the big Players of the Year awards now coming up, Ren. We'll start with Defensive Player of the Year. Coming up here. Nominees were Levante David, Devin White, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah, I think the only person who has a legitimate shot, and that's who I voted for more times than not, is Levante David. I think he showed up every single week. There were a couple of weeks, and not that it's any of his fault. There were a couple of weeks that Shaq Barrett kind of disappeared, but you end up at the end of the year 19 and a half sacks. Like, you just can't ignore that number.
You're leading the league.
Led the league. Yeah. It's hard to say with such a stat that people tend to stare out and think it's such an important part to being, and it is. That's how it's seen. A lot of sacks.
It's the sexiest stat. It might be the sexiest stat in football.
It is. It is. It is. It's sexier than touchdowns. Let's face it. The touchdown number, to make it sexy, has to have a big number next to it, like 40.
Right.
You get somewhere over.
Because 33 doesn't sound like, oh yeah, you got 33.
Yeah, a lot of people get in the 30s.
Right.
I remember when Brady threw 50. I think he threw like 51. Anyway, Shaq Barrett, and I'm thinking it probably wasn't as close as it should have been.
You're thinking it wasn't as close as it should have been?
Right.
It's possible. I don't talk about those particular numbers. However, I will tell you, you and everybody else are correct. Shaq Barrett taking home his second Pewtie of the night. And yes, he will get 2 individual ones of these trophies, both engraved with his name, one for each award. So Defensive Player of the Year goes to Shaq Barrett, who is at the Pro Bowl as we speak, or just finishing. I guess they finished the Pro Bowl now.
Yeah, he's home.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's still in Disney. Who knows? Maybe he's staying.
There you go. Oh, maybe I should go to Disney World tomorrow. Oh, that'd be great. Go see who I see. Anyway, not doing that now. All right. Moving on. We've got just 2 more categories, Ren, for the night. Offensive Player of the Year. And the nominees are Jameis Winston, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Ryan Jensen, Ronald Jones II.
Yeah. I don't know why Ronald Jones is in there, but
because we needed 5.
There you go.
And he was the 5th one.
The end. So this is going to be between, realistically, Jameis, Mike, and Godwin. I voted for Godwin. I just think
you voted for. I did not think that's who you'd be voting for.
I did. I voted for Godwin. I just think he's rock solid. I thought, when we needed Mike to step up in the Saints game, he didn't. And I don't care, and you could have an argument with me that it wasn't his fault, and that's fine. But I think, would he have like 1 target the first time we played him?
Something like that.
And okay, that's not where the game plan was going, and it's not his fault. I don't care. You got to get on the headset and say, hey, throw me the GD ball. I'm Mike Evans. And so I voted for Godwin. I would have voted for Jameis, except for obviously all the picks. But I think this was a close one. Mike's popularity with the fans, I think, is going to pull it out for him, because he did get another 1,000 yards. He's tied for all time starting a career. Jameis, of course, is so polarizing. He did throw 30 interceptions, and if
Mike got there before Chris Godwin did
at 1,000 yards, and Chris did get hurt the last 2 games as well. If he would have hung on and maybe put up some of those, taken some of those numbers, or shared, I guess I should say, some of those numbers with Perryman, I think this would have been closer. I don't know the numbers, but I think Mike Evans is going to win this one.
All right. And see, because I thought you would have said Jameis, because yes, 30 interceptions for Jameis, but also 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns. The guy, he lit it up. Yeah, and I don't want to get into a debate over Jameis Winston right now.
You mean lit it up as in he set fires?
Exactly, like literally. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He would throw the ball. It was on fire. It's like one of those flaming arrows as it was going through the air. It's pretty neat. You can only see it live. You had to be there live. You couldn't. It didn't show up on TV very well.
It's like Jameis Winston is like a world-renowned arsonist that is also like the biggest fundraiser for firemen. You know, that's who he is. You know.
Hey Ren, have you heard any news on Jameis Winston? Because I hear some talk out there.
It's like Batman and the Joker. But he's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
He made himself. You made me.
You've never seen Batman and the Joker in the same room. Oh wait, yeah, you have. But anyway, anyway,
every show. Only about 5,000 times.
All right,
the Joker's in makeup.
There you go.
Okay,
it's that Lego guy who like spins his head, and it's a different. Anyway, all right. Offensive Player of the Year: Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Jameis Winston, Ryan Jensen, Ronald Jones, and the Pewtie goes to. This is a first-time winner of any Pewtie ever, for at least for this particular player. Chris Godwin takes home the Pewter. Chris Godwin taking it home for Offensive Player of the Year. And I mean, my gosh, just how well deserved is this particular award?
Right.
I mean, when you said you voted for him, he was your guy to vote for.
Finally, my thoughts match up with the rest of Bucs Nation.
Look, here's the thing. When you think back on the 2019 season and you think about all the big plays and you think about the offense, the plays that are going to come to mind are going to be the ones that mostly involve Chris Godwin. So many times this year I went, how did he catch that ball?
Or how come he didn't get tackled?
Yeah. How did he get that far? How did he do this? Like, there's so many times this year that we had that thought about Chris Godwin. I think that's what stands out in the minds of the voters and the minds of the fans out there.
It's 3rd and 14. Jameis throws a 7-yard pass to him, and you're like, oh, okay. And then he's like, oh, wait. We got the first down. Oh, wait. He's in the end zone.
And there was at least twice I can think of off the top of my head where Jameis threw a pass to Chris Godwin. And when I saw it, my first response was that just got picked off. Oh, no, Chris has it. Like, at least twice this year
he made some really fantastic catches, one-handed catches this year. He really did.
Yeah, he really did. So congratulations, Chris Godwin. You will be receiving one of these very, very soon. Be on the lookout for it. They're saying in the chat room, his yak was very unbuck-like.
It was.
I like it. All right. Ren, we are down to the last one of the year. The last award of the night. This is our big one.
Does Shaq Barrett get his third baby?
We'll find out. Right now, Player of the Year, overall Player of the Year. You might call it the MVP. You might call it the Buck of the Year. You might call it whatever. This is the big award, overall player for the entire team. And the nominees were Mike Evans, Levante David, Chris Godwin, Shaq Barrett, and Jason Pierre-Paul.
Here's what I'm hoping happened is that Bucs fans have gone. I know it kind of jumbled them all up, right? But it's really hard to argue that Shaq Barrett's not free agent of the year. Okay. And it's really hard to argue that he's not defensive player of the year. Now, we just had the argument with Chris Godwin. I'm happy he won. I thought he deserved it. I thought he was third in a 3-man race. I really did. So I'm hoping that when people have gone and done their votes, that they see like the NFL has treated, how the sports writers have treated, how the AP has treated Levante David, and just kept casting him to a side because there was a hotter, sexier name there.
Right.
I'm hoping fans clicked on Levante David and he won this one. But, 19 and a half sacks, a lot of sacks, baby.
That's a lot of sacks.
That's a lot of sacks.
It's hard to overcome. And it's hard. This is always a hard one because you have like the defensive player of the year, the offensive player of the year. And, historically, whoever wins one of those two generally is going to win. Like one of those two guys is who winds up winning the player of the year.
Yes, which is also something going against Levante David.
Right. And I think we actually made it a rule last year. We didn't do it this year, but I think it was a rule last year. Like, I don't remember exactly how we did it, but
we did something strange because like Mike Evans won like 5 of them or something crazy.
Something like that. Yeah. But if you remember like 2 years ago, Levante David won 4.
That's true.
And this was one of them for Levante David. So
And he was still overlooked.
right. But coming in, and then it's such a thing. And JPP, I just want to shout out JPP. And I know some people are like, why is he player of the year? He didn't play all year long and whatever. But I think the thing that stood us out among at least the nominee committee is the idea that when JPP came in, he was the one who was really credited for, at least as far as a player or a part of a big piece of that big defensive turnaround in the second half of the season.
Yeah,
Or at least
exactly.
his influence coming in really made that. So.
The run stopping was there, but when he got there, because Shaq started to stumble a little bit. Again, you got 19 and a half sacks. How much did you really stumble? But he started to slow down. Teams started to show a lot more like, okay, Nassib is a nice player. He's got a motor. He might fall into a sack, every third game, finish 6, 7. But then you brought JPP back, and then Nassib came back, and now you got 3 guys that, and then you got Sue and Vea in the middle, and you got Golston in there too. Like you can't. It's pick your poison.
Right.
And then when JPP got a couple of games under him, and he still got 8.5 sacks.
Right.
So like Shaq Barrett doesn't get 19.5 without JPP coming back.
Fair.
And without JP coming back, that all around pressure every play doesn't happen, which doesn't let the guys mature in the back as fast. So that'd be my argument for JPP as the MVP, plus what he did in the locker room.
Sure. And we'll never really know what all that was because it's the locker room, right? It's kind of an inner sanctum. But, these are all guys I think certainly could be very deserving. But as for every category tonight, Red, only one person can win. And the winner, voted on by the fans after receiving 22,044 votes, the highest number of votes ever received in the history of the PewterCast Awards. Player of the Year. This award, not this particular one, we'll get one special for him. Picking up his third Pewtie of the night, Mr. Shaq Barrett. Moochie45, whatever his Twitter thing is. Our Pro Bowl representative of the year. Shaq Barrett coming back, and I don't know, maybe I don't know how much this might weigh on him getting more money as he's entering contract negotiations, but it should. Fans voting on him.
Yeah. Shaq, if you go to a different team, you can't win a Pewtie next year.
It's true. We do.
But by the time he gets him and finds out that he won,
right,
he'll already have signed or not signed with the Bucs.
Yes.
Well, they don't.
Huh?
We should tweet him out.
We'll tweet them out and we'll send out all the notices and stuff. They'll know that they won before they ever get it. So, and the Buccaneers will also know who won every single one of these. So, Ren.
Wow. No Levante David. No Jameis Winston. No Mike Evans.
No.
Wow.
No. Just shows the diversity, Ren. It shows the diversity of the PewterCast Awards and what can happen on a year-to-year basis.
We need to come up with an award for the offensive lineman. But as I say that, I'm just like, well, why don't we just go hand one to Ali Marpet? Because he'll just win by popularity. It does,
Right.
It's like, well, Jensen deserves it this year, really, overall, but it's Ali Marpet. So, yeah. I was just thinking that no offensive lineman got it. And I'm like, well, that's really hard given these, these are all sort of like splash awards.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. And hey, listen, I'm always open to adding more in future years, but we'll have to wait a whole nother year for that to happen, Ren.
We will.
Because that is going to do it for the 2019 PewterCast Awards. I want to say thank you to everybody who voted. And, if you voted more than once, you voted just once, you only voted a halfway. Maybe you snuck one in before I made, anyway, listen, thank you guys for voting because these awards really wouldn't be possible without you guys. You guys are what bring this award show, I think, legitimacy and what I think actually makes this award show important because there can be awards that are given out by various different outlets that are out there. And those are all fine. And those all have their purpose. But as far as I know, Ren, this is the only fan voted award show certainly for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about other 32 teams, but I can't imagine a lot of them have a show like this. And I think this is this is the People's Choice Awards or the Kids' Choice Awards or the whatever. It's the Fan Choice Awards. Oh, maybe we should call it that. The PewterCast Fan Choice Awards. Anyway, but that's what it is. And that's what makes this show, this particular award show, I think it makes it important, to be honest with you.
It does, and me saying this, and I'm sure you'll agree, or I hope you do. It's not us saying like, hey, look, we're not trying to piggyback off the legitimacy this gives the players or gives the media members. We're just sort of a tool to give it to the fans to do it, to be able to show these people what the fans appreciate their play or what they, give the fans as far as coverage or their organization. So I think, you're right. It's the more votes that we get, it's the more that people care. And it's just, it's nice to do nice things for people. It's nice to be recognized for your hard work, even if, the end product came nowhere close to what you wanted it to happen. So, congratulations to all the winners. If you're listening to this, don't take any offense if I didn't think you should have won. That was just my personal opinion. The reason those people in there, because they were voted on, and you could make a absolute argument for anybody to win any of those awards, and you would have been right. So again, congratulations to everyone. Thank you to the fans, to everyone who listens to the PewterCast or follows us on Twitter, that went in there and voted and made this another special year, sort of rounding this out and making Brent happy, because this is his favorite show.
This is the only reason why I do the PewterCast all year long. If it wasn't for this show, I'd just quit. I'd be done.
Oh wow!
I do everything just to lead to this show. That's not true. That is not true.
About to say.
That is not true at all. I just, like I said, I think I said this at the top of the show. It's a fun show for me anyway. It's just a fun show that we get to do and we get to put out there. So with that, Ren, we'll go ahead and kind of wind this down. Oh, one more thing before I forget and before we sign off. As people are watching this, as people are downloading this, I think tomorrow's the final day.
Yeah, I'll be going hard tomorrow.
Yeah. It's the final day to vote for our friend Big Nasty at FordHallOfFans.com/football. Let's get our guy into the Hall of Fame, the literal Hall of Fame. And you guys do that.
Gets a jacket, gets a ring. I still can't get over the bus part.
Yeah, that's cool.
If I knew this, and I know this doesn't count, and it sounds very selfish and small and petty and wrong, but if I knew that, like, I could get my bus in Canton, I would have been doing stuff like he was doing 10 years ago. I mean, could you, I really would. Now that, he's in it and he's obviously well-deserved, it's just kind of like, I don't know, crying over sour grapes or even just being a terrible, bad person. I don't know. But I sure as hell would like to have my bus immortalized in the Football Hall of Fame, because you know what? The sport of football has been with me longer than just about anybody, right? Besides like my mom and my dad. The sport of football has been with me since I can remember. Right. I was playing football when they didn't have helmets that fit, and they didn't have pants small enough. Like the knee pads are down by the shins, and the thigh pad was down by the knee, and you didn't have a belt that could keep it up, and and your helmet bobbled all around. You're out there playing tackle football with a bunch of 6-year-olds that couldn't even see. And it's and I love the sport and I love my team, and just, man, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Got to get Big Nasty a bus. Got to get him in there.
And he deserves it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything about the other people, but I got to tell you, Big Nasty
losers, all of them.
So listen, you guys go vote. You vote once a day, and here's the thing, guys. I'm just gonna say, vote from your computer. Vote from every browser on your computer.
Yep.
Right? Because those are different votes. Mozilla, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Internet Explorer, if you're still using that guy, whatever browser you're using, go over to your phone, vote from all those browsers as well. Go to your iPad or your tablet, vote from all those browsers as well.
Go to your wives, go to your boyfriends, go to your girlfriends, go to your coworkers.
There you go.
You only got to do it this one last day.
Just one more day. Let's get our guy Big Nasty in there, and we'll be celebrating him. So, but guys, that's going to do it for us for tonight. Congratulations to all of our winners. You guys are awesome. And I look forward to doing this show again next year. But for now, Ren, we downshift. We downshift out of the 2019 season. From here on out, we're only looking forward. We're not looking backwards anymore. And we'll be back, guys, throughout the off season with fresh content for you guys as we ramp into bringing in the 2020 season, and hopefully seeing our Buccaneers not just make it to the playoffs, but go all the way through the playoffs. And God. I'm not even going to get there yet. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us. Ren, we're going to the ship. We're going to. All right, Ren, tell the folks where they can find you on the internet if they want to argue with you about anything that happened on the show here today.
Sure. Best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. And how ironic is that we go from Brent's favorite time of the year right into Brent's least favorite time of the year. Because if you're a follower of the PewterCast, Brent doesn't like drafts even. It's not that he thinks anyone's stupid that cares about it. He just thinks mock drafts are silly. And there's a lot of people out there. On the other hand, I am not.
Right. So we'll still be covering the mock drafts and everything going on.
We'll still be covering the drafts. We'll still be covering the mock drafts. I got to go to all the Shrine Bowl practices. The Senior Bowl just happened. So we'll be having shows sort of talking about some of the players that we saw there. We have something in the hopper this off season, sort of a team podcasting show extravaganza that's planned.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's very much in the baby steps right now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say anything about it, but it will be like a series, and I think everybody will enjoy that type of thing. But again, anything Buccaneers, the best place to find me, I'm going to repeat it, sorry everybody, is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias, and the show is at the PewterCast on Twitter and on Facebook. Email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. We may read those on an upcoming episode of the PewterCast. Guys, we'll be back. Or never. Who knows? It's the off season. Who knows what's going to happen? But email us. We'd love to hear from you guys. And we will talk to you guys later. We'll talk to you guys about everything coming up Buccaneers. And until then, guys, we'll close the show out as always. Go Bucks.